My name is Dierra, and I'm from Tyler, Texas, which is 2 hours east of Dallas. Backstory before my question. Me and my father never really had a real relationship. He's always been in and out of jail my whole entire life. So his actions kind of proved that he didn't want to be in my life rather than his words. But when he told me that I was never wanted in his life and he never wanted a relationship with me anymore, it kind of hurt. Well, I'm not going to say kind of. It did hurt. So I kind of lost myself in people because all I wanted to do was feel wanted. I never got over that pain. And so now my question is to you. I lost grip of the girl who I was before he said that he never wanted a relationship with. So how do you get back to who you once was when you know she was better than what she is now?
I have to tell you, from our interaction on social media and then seeing you at some of the Woman Evolve events, you have really just been such an incredible spirit. You've been so
Thank
kind,
you.
so generous, so loving, so full of just God's love. And so I consider it an honor to be able to talk to you and walk you through some things today.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it makes me cry. It's too early.
So I want to apologize that you experienced that. Not just hearing those words from someone who you really needed to be affirmed by, but just this series of events and actions that led up to that moment, because that's really hard. And when we come to this place where we have our greatest fear or insecurity vocalized by the person on the receiving end, that's definitely trauma. And so I guess I'd be kind of curious into like what happened to you after that moment. How did that trauma change you? Obviously, it quote unquote validated this insecurity that you had been afraid of. But what were some of the thoughts or actions that you took after that?
um, I lost my virginity to a boy that I thought he was going through the same daddy issues. So I thought it was okay because we both wanted to feel wanted. And so, and then I lost myself in him. And then, like, when he left, it kind of broke me again. I really, like, went back to trying to drink and everything. Like, I really back spiraled.
Yeah.
Like, where I was, I, like, just went back to the times where, like, I didn't care. And so I didn't, like, I just back spiraled.
So, when we feel unwanted, which is one of the most difficult feelings to really process and emotion, especially and emotions to process, especially when it comes from someone who is supposed to be there for you, it unearths everything that we feel like we're building our life on. And so now that stability has been shaken, and we start looking at relationships or alcohol or whatever to try and numb that pain. Because at the end of the day, you want to feel wanted and you want to feel loved. I think that, when I look at this from the outside looking in, I see an unhealthy emotional person who has been in and out of your life, who had a lot of power to either make you better or to make you worse, and unfortunately used that power to hurt you in a way that can't even be justified. But I think to really understand where healing lies in this for you, I think it comes down from having to remove this expectation from him that you had throughout your entire childhood. And that's hard because who doesn't expect for their parent to love them, to want them, not to be perfect? Like, you were willing to lower the bar. He's in and out of jail. You were willing to deal with that. You were willing to take pieces of him. And so you already lowered the bar. And then to finally have this said to you, I think is really traumatizing. But coming to this place where you really realize that I expected something from him that he was never going to be able to give me, because quite frankly, he probably never received it himself. And so when you think about those types of thoughts, like what's coming to your mind as we talk about that?
Um, Real, true. I feel like that. I just think of childhood memories,
Yeah.
how like how I expected something and got something different from them, and I think of angry. I get
Yeah.
mad. I guess like I just feel like why. Yeah, it's just mixed emotions.
I
Like
think,
I feel proud
mm,
as well, like proud that like I did it without him.
yeah.
I guess like I did some things without him. So yeah, it's all mixed emotions.
I think we got to address those emotions. I think we got to break those down and really understand what those emotions are so we can see how they're showing up in our life, because the relationship, sex, drinking, all of that is a way to try and numb ourselves from feeling the reality of what that moment meant to us. And I know you said that it hurt, but like to really dissect how it hurt you and to really understand who I became as a result of that. I think our finish line goal, like the finish line of this, would be able to come to a place where we said, you know what? He was never going to be able to show up for me in the way that I needed. And perhaps that's why God didn't allow him to have that much access to me, is so that I wouldn't have to experience this disappointment at an age where I couldn't handle it. But when I was at an age where I was going to be, maybe mature enough to understand what it's like to be an adult, what it's like to have my own brokenness, he allowed me to receive this truth about him. And I think to really get to this place where you realize that, of course, God wants you. Of course, you have a place in the kingdom. Of course, you have a place in the earth that is important and that can't be devalued, that can't be taken away. But to really come to a place where you are at peace with the fact that you are no longer expecting this from him, so you can't necessarily be disappointed from him, but not in this toxic build a wall kind of way, but in a way that really recognizes that brokenness can't heal you. And
Right.
as long as we need his presence to heal you, then we miss out on the real validation that you have from being anchored in who God has called you to be. And so I think really laying out those emotions, I know you said that it made you angry. I know that you said that it hurt you. And all of those are things that I think with some therapy and some help, you could really begin to lay out. I think my greatest fear is that if we don't address it, if we don't take time to really dig into it, then you may end up suppressing these emotions that really must be acknowledged. And so when we go through relationship traumas, part of the reason why it is so detrimental to our growth is because it makes us change the way we interact with all relationships. So instead of making a, summarization of this one particular relationship, we apply it to all relationships now. And so I think this idea of really probably wanting to please your dad and keep your dad around for as much as you could. So I'm not going to show anything that could push him away. I'm not going to show him anything that could make him run away because he's already kind of in and out. Kind of started projecting into all of your other relationships. Your mom had this baby. You didn't want to burden your mom with the baby. And so now you have learned to really make sure that everyone else is okay at the risk of you not feeling okay on the inside of yourself. And so I think the first thing that you have to do, besides receiving God's love and pressing in and recognizing that he wants you and that's why he created you and placed you in this earth, is I think you have to come to a place where you want you. And you have to decide what part of you really want to show up in the world. Because you want so much for other people, and this makes so much sense because I see how you are in the Woman Evolve events and in the chat room. You want so much for other people because at the end of the day, you never want anyone to feel what you have felt, and that's powerful. That you want to make sure that anyone who wants to be in the room can be in the room, even if it means going without yourself. You love people the way that you want it to be loved. And so I want to challenge you to really love yourself in that same way. And to really say, I want me enough, and I want every part of me that I am willing to risk the vulnerability connected with being me. I don't just want the version of me that makes other people happy and comfortable. That's who you are organically. That's going to show up no matter where you are. But I want the side of me that is willing to open up, that is willing to connect, that is willing to be vulnerable. I want her because I want to feel. And I don't want to just go through this life being a robot and being there for everyone else while I'm suffering on the inside of me. I want to feel. I want to feel the good things. I want to feel the yucky things. I want to feel the pain. I want to feel the joy. I want to feel. And so now you have to practice that type of vulnerability so that you can become that version of you who wants every part of yourself. I think that you've been walking on eggshells for a really long time, not wanting to be rejected, not wanting to be misunderstood, not wanting to be left alone. And I think that you've been walking on eggshells so much that you may have even lost a piece of yourself in the process. So much so that you don't even know what you want or how to open up to get it. But I want to pray that as we have this time together, that God would give you permission to be you and to feel what you feel and to vocalize it when necessary with people who you know can handle your truth, and to be okay not being okay, so that when you show up, you're not just showing up as one version of yourself. Part of the reason, and I've got strong friend syndrome too, and I've been really like working on breaking it, is because part of the reason people don't ever think that we're going through anything or that we have any issues is because we don't share it with them. And I think part of the reason why we don't share it is because we have pride. We kind of take pride in having it together and pride in being able to do for other people. But then we have
Right.
these moments where we like suffer on on the inside of ourselves. And so we have to practice that vulnerability.